The Varkari were not just rulers of the galaxy, they were its undisputed apex predators. For over 10,000 years, their empire had spread like a shadow, conquering every species they encountered. No race had ever been able to resist them. No civilization had survived their wrath. They were warriors by blood, bred for destruction, and trained in the art of war since birth. Their ships were massive, armed with weapons powerful enough to burn entire planets to ash. Their soldiers were tall, covered in thick armor-like skin, with eyes that saw only conquest. Fear was a word they did not understand. Across the galaxy, their name alone sent entire civilizations into panic. When a Varkari fleet entered a system, there were only two choices: surrender or be erased. And so, the galaxy had learned to obey. On the bridge of the Varkari warlord's flagship, Supreme Commander Xalvok looked at the holographic display. Another world had fallen. Another species had submitted. It was routine now. Too easy. His second-in-command, a warrior named Vortan, approached and saluted. "The Zorkari homeworld has been destroyed, Warlord," he reported. The survivors begged for mercy. Xalvok laughed. "Mercy? Did they show mercy when they refused our first demand? Did they offer surrender before our fleets arrived? No, Warlord. Then they will learn what happens to those who resist." Vortan grinned, exposing razor-sharp teeth. The Varkari believed in one thing: power ruled the galaxy. The weak did not deserve to exist. And yet, for the first time in centuries, there were rumors, whispers, of a species that did not fear them. A strange report. A communication officer hesitated before speaking. "Warlord, we have intercepted a strange message. It comes from an uncharted system." Xalvok raised an eyebrow. "Speak." The officer swallowed. "It is from a species called humans. They claim to own a planet called Earth." There was silence. A deep guttural laugh rumbled through the command deck. Another unknown species trying to act brave. Xalvok sneered. "Let them learn what it means to challenge the apex predators of the galaxy." He pointed to the star map. "Set course for their system. We will show these humans what true power looks like." And with that, the Varkari war machine moved toward Earth, completely unaware that they had just made the biggest mistake in their history. The Varkari fleet moved through space like a storm, its warships blotting out the stars. Their mission was simple: find this species called humans and crush them. For thousands of years, every species that dared to defy the Varkari had been erased. Planets were turned to ash. Civilizations were wiped from history. And now, another foolish race had dared to claim their own territory. It was laughable. Supreme Commander Xalvok sat on the bridge of his flagship, watching as his scouts approached the human homeworld. The first encounter. The first human ship appeared on their scanners. It was small, much smaller than any Varkari warship. It looked primitive compared to their own vessels. It had no visible weapons, no heavy armor, nothing that suggested it could be a threat. Xalvok smirked. "Destroy it." One of his cruisers broke formation and moved in. The Varkari commander aboard the cruiser hailed the humans, his voice filled with mocking confidence. "Attention, human vessel. You are in Varkari-controlled space. Surrender or be eliminated." For a moment, there was only silence. Then, a calm human voice responded. "No, you're in our space." The Varkari laughed. "You are outnumbered, outgunned, and..." Boom! Without warning, the small human ship fired. A single beam of energy shot forward and ripped the Varkari cruiser in half. Xalvok's eyes widened. Impossible. A single human vessel had just obliterated one of his warships in a single shot. The bridge fell silent. The laughter was gone. The human message. Before Xalvok could recover from his shock, another message came through from the human ship. "Varkari warlord." The human voice said, still calm and steady. "Turn back now. This is your only warning." Zalvok gritted his teeth. A challenge. From an unknown species. He slammed his fist onto the command console. Launched the full invasion. Wiped them out. Now, the Valkyrie fleet charged toward Earth. They thought they were heading for an easy victory. They had no idea they were flying straight into a nightmare. The Valkyrie fleet moved in full force, their warships cutting through space like hungry predators. Thousands of battleships, carriers, and cruisers advanced toward Earth's defenses, ready to crush humanity before they could resist. Supreme Commander Zalvok stood on his command bridge, his confidence restored. That human ship was a trick, he growled. One ship can't win a war. We will erase them as we have erased others. But as the fleet closed in, something was wrong. The silent battlefield. There were no planetary defense platforms, no massive fleets waiting in formation, no sign of panic from Earth. It was quiet. Too quiet. One of Zalvok's generals looked uneasy. "Sir, where are their ships?" Before Zalvok could answer, alarms blared. Boom, boom, boom. Ships at the front of the fleet exploded without warning. One moment they were there, and the next, vanished in fire and debris. "What is happening?" Zalvok roared. His officers scrambled for answers. Sensors detected nothing. No missile trails, no plasma fire, no visible enemy. It was like the fleet was being torn apart by ghosts. But then, the first visuals came through. A human warship had emerged from nowhere, appearing right inside their formation. Its black, angular hull seemed to bend light around it, making it nearly invisible. It fired once. A single, silent blast. Zalvok watched in horror as an entire Valkyrie battleship crumbled to dust before his eyes. "This is impossible," he whispered. "The warship they never expected." Another human ship appeared, then another, and another. Each one was using cloaking technology far beyond anything in the galaxy. They moved silently, appearing and disappearing like phantoms. Valkyrie ships fired blindly, but the humans were always one step ahead. Every shot missed. Every counterattack failed. And with every passing second, more Valkyrie ships vanished in fire and destruction. "This isn't a battle," one of Zalvok's generals whispered. "This is a slaughter." Zalvok gritted his teeth. "No, we are the Valkyrie. We do not lose." But deep inside, for the first time in his life, he wasn't sure if that was true anymore. The Valkyrie fleet was in chaos. Warships exploded one after another, their advanced shields useless against the unseen human weapons. The proud conquerors of the galaxy, the species that had never lost a war, were being hunted like prey. Supreme Commander Zalvok watched in disbelief. His mighty armada, ships that had crushed countless civilizations, was being picked apart with frightening precision. "This cannot be happening," he muttered. His command bridge was filled with panic. Officers shouted, alarms blared, and emergency signals flooded the screens. "Commander, our ship's air." Boom. The officer's screen flickered before he could finish. Another battleship was gone, reduced to molten debris. The human advantage. Zalvok turned to his sensors officer. "Where are they? How are they attacking us?" The officer's hands were shaking. I don't know. They are using some kind of stealth technology beyond our understanding." Another explosion rocked the fleet. The humans were not just winning. They were playing with them. Striking, vanishing, then striking again. The Valkyrie tactics, overwhelming brute force, intimidation, and raw firepower, were useless against an enemy they couldn't even see. Zalvok clenched his fists. "We need to retreat," one of his generals urged. "No," Zalvok growled. "We fight to the last ship." But even as he said it, he could see the truth. The Valkyrie Empire's days of ruling the galaxy were over. The first Valkyrie retreat in history. Then, something unthinkable happened. The Valkyrie ships began pulling back. This had never happened before. The Valkyrie Empire had never retreated from battle. It was a rule, a belief, a symbol of their power. But now, for the first time in their history, they were fleeing. The humans had shattered the illusion of Valkyrie invincibility. The species that once terrified the galaxy was running for their lives. As his warships retreated into deep space, Xalvok's claws dug into his armrest. "We will return," he whispered. "We will find a way to defeat them." But deep inside, a new fear took root. What if humans were just getting started? The news spread like wildfire. The Valkyrie, the most feared conquerors in the galaxy, had lost. Not just lost, a humiliating defeat at the hands of humans, a species that most had considered weak and insignificant. On every planet, across every system, the same question echoed. How did this happen? The reactions of the galactic powers. In the halls of the Galactic Council, representatives from hundreds of species gathered. The tension was unbearable. The Valkyrie seat, usually occupied by arrogant warlords, was empty. A council member from the Zareth coalition spoke first. The Valkyrie lost, to humans. It must be a trick. Another representative said, "Humans are not that powerful." But the battle recordings played before them proved the truth. Silent, invisible ships, weapons beyond understanding, flawless tactics. A nightmare unfolded before their eyes. The Valkyrie never even had a chance. A deep silence followed. Then, a nervous voice asked, "What if humans come for the rest of us next?" Xalvok's fury. On his warship, Supreme Commander Xalvok paced in rage. His claws scraped across the metal floor. "The galaxy is laughing at us," he growled. His officers stood in fearful silence. They had never seen their leader like this. One admiral spoke carefully. "Supreme Commander, we must." Xalvok slammed his fist onto the table. "I don't want excuses. I want revenge." But deep down, he knew the truth. The Valkyrie had never been truly afraid of any species before. But now, humans had changed that. His empire's rule over the galaxy was crumbling. And the worst part, the humans hadn't even begun their war yet. Xalvok refused to accept defeat. The Valkyrie Empire had ruled for centuries, crushing every species that dared resist. But now, their pride was shattered. The humans had won a single battle, but the war wasn't over. And Xalvok would make sure of that. The plan for revenge. On the Valkyrie homeworld, the remaining warlords gathered. Fear and rage filled the air. One of them, General Zorvek, slammed his fist onto the war table. "We cannot let this stand. The humans must be eliminated before they spread." Xalvok nodded. "We will strike Earth directly." Gasps filled the room. No one had ever dared to attack Earth before. It was considered a backwater planet, not worth the effort. But after their defeat, the Valkyrie had learned the truth. Humans were far more dangerous than expected. The plan was simple. Send an armada, every remaining warship. Bombard Earth until nothing remained. Erase humanity before their power grew. It was a desperate move, but they had no choice. If they didn't destroy humans now, then soon, humans would destroy them all. The Armada moves. Thousands of Valkyrie warships launched from their homeworld, heading straight for Earth. They traveled in dark space, hoping to avoid detection. Silent, invisible, deadly. Xalvok sat in his command chair, watching the stars. He knew the galaxy was watching. If they crushed Earth, the Valkyrie's rule would be restored. But something felt wrong. A deep unease crawled into his mind. The humans had tricked them before. Could they do it again? Shaking off the doubt, he clenched his claws. "No," he growled. "This time, they won't escape." He was sure of it. But he was wrong. The Valkyrie Armada moved through space, approaching Earth. Thousands of warships, armed with the most powerful weapons in the galaxy, were ready to wipe humanity from existence. Xalvok stood at the bridge of his flagship, watching the planet come into view. "This ends now," he growled. "The trap is sprung." But something was wrong. Their sensors glitched. Strange energy signatures filled the void around them. Then, the void itself moved. From the darkness of space, human warships appeared. They had been waiting, hidden inside advanced cloaking fields. The trap was set. A voice echoed through the Valkyrie fleet. A human voice. "Welcome, Valkyrie. We've been expecting you." Then, chaos erupted. The power of humanity. The battle was unlike anything the Valkyrie had ever seen. Human warships were faster, maneuvering in ways that defied physics. Their weapons tore through Valkyrie shields, using new, unknown energy. Tactical AI predicted enemy movements, dodging attacks before they happened. Zalvok watched in horror. His fleet, the greatest in the galaxy, was being torn apart. "This is impossible," he roared. Then, Earth's last surprise arrived. A single, massive warship emerged, a ship built from salvaged Valkyrie technology, improved by human minds. It was stronger than anything the Valkyrie had ever created. Zalvok finally understood the truth. The humans didn't just defeat their enemies. They studied them. They adapted. And then, they became stronger. The fall of the Valkyrie. Zalvok's fleet collapsed. Ships exploded. Crews surrendered. The unstoppable conquerors of the galaxy had been humbled. In the final moments, Zalvok sent a desperate message to his homeworld. "Do not resist," he whispered. "It's over." And then, his ship was destroyed. The Valkyrie Empire, once the deadliest species in the galaxy, was no more. And the galaxy finally understood the real apex predators. Humans,